Hello, I'm Martin Park. For those that don't know me, I'm a naturopath and a master coach and trainer who has been working professionally in health, fitness, wellness and personal development for over 46 years. If you are someone who is interested in learning how to maximize your overall health, well-being and performance, then welcome. The other day, I walked up to a traffic light crossing and stood waiting for the green light to cross. Standing right in front of the button that lets the traffic lights know that someone is waiting was a man in his early 20s wearing headphones and scrolling through his TikTok feed on his mobile phone. I slightly waved and gestured at him while asking, in a friendly tone, "Have you hit the button?" He reluctantly turned his head and looked at me with disdain as he pulled one of his headphones off. He paused for a moment before he snarled, "What?" I repeated again in a friendly tone, "Have you hit the walk button?" To which he replied, "Yeah, of course I have. What do you think, I'm an idiot?" He then replaced his headphone and returned to his extremely important TikTok feed. So today I'm going to briefly talk about a subtle yet profound transformation that is happening right before our eyes. A change so gradual that many of us might not even notice, yet so significant that it threatens the very fabric of how we interact, communicate and fundamentally respect one another. I'm talking about the systemic dismantling of civility in our modern world. I'm talking about the way in which we act and communicate with each other, our family, our friends, our colleagues and neighbours, and everyone we don't yet know that we come into contact with on a daily basis, whether in the real world or online. I'm talking about manners. Remember those? Those seemingly antiquated social lubricants that once guided our interactions, softened our communications, and demonstrated a basic level of respect for the human beings around us. They weren't just empty rituals or stuffy traditions. They were the delicate threads that held our social fabric together. But somewhere along the line, something changed. Perhaps it was the rise of digital communication, where screens replaced faces and emojis substituted for genuine emotional expression. Maybe it was the increasing pace of life, where efficiency became valued more than kindness and speed trumped consideration. Or perhaps it was something deeper. A collective societal shift where individual gratification became paramount and the consideration of others became an afterthought. I mean, think about it. How many times have you gotten into an elevator, looked at someone and greeted them with a simple hello or good morning, only to be met with a blank stare or complete silence as if you didn't even exist? When was the last time you heard a genuine please or thank you? When did saying excuse me become optional rather than mandatory? When did interrupting someone mid-sentence become not just acceptable, but expected? The erosion isn't just in grand gestures, it's in the minutiae. The small, almost imperceptible moments where basic human decency gets bulldozed by ego, impatience, and a strange new cultural narrative that celebrates abrasiveness as a form of authenticity. Social media hasn't helped, as it's created platforms where being provocative is rewarded more than being thoughtful, where a cutting remark garners more attention than a considerate response, where nuance is lost in the pursuit of viral moments and performative outrage. But here's the thing, civility isn't weakness. It's not about being passive or submissive. It's about recognizing the inherent dignity of every human being you encounter. It's about understanding that your momentary convenience doesn't supersede another person's basic right to be treated with respect. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that the world was some utopia of politeness in the past. People have always had their flaws, and rudeness and selfishness existed long before smartphones and social media. So this isn't nostalgia speaking. This is a recognition of a fundamental human need to be acknowledged, to be heard, to be treated with a baseline of dignity. As today, there's a noticeable shift and erosion of civility, and it's impacting how we interact with each other in profound ways. And what we're witnessing isn't just a decline in manners, it's a broader symptom of a society that's losing its capacity for empathy, for genuine connection. A society that's becoming increasingly transactional, where interactions are seen as opportunities for personal gain rather than moments of human exchange. But does it really matter? Why should we care if people aren't as polite as they could or should be? Well, let's pause for a moment and think about what happens when we start losing respect for these small, everyday interactions. As basic manners fade, so does the willingness to compromise, to empathize, and to understand someone else's point of view. When we're no longer willing to invest in those small civil exchanges, we find it harder to cooperate, to build trust, and ultimately to create a sense of community. When civility erodes, it creates a sense of alienation. We stop acknowledging each other as fellow human beings with dignity and worth. Instead of engaging with each other as equals, we retreat into ourselves. We distance ourselves from the community. We all start living in matrix silos, isolated, disconnected, indifferent to each other's struggles. Young people today are growing up in an environment where the social scripts of politeness are becoming alien languages, where ghosting is normalized, where online anonymity breeds contempt, and where the art of genuine conversation is being replaced by algorithmic interactions, bots, gaslighters, and grifters. But civilization isn't built on grand gestures. It's built on millions of small, seemingly insignificant moments of mutual respect. Each thank you, each excuse me, each good morning, how are you? Each moment of genuine listening is a brick in the foundation of a functioning, compassionate society. Cormac McCarthy captured this sentiment perfectly in his masterpiece of modern American literature, No Country for Old Men, when he wrote, "I told a reporter here a while back, young girl, seemed nice enough. She was just trying to be a reporter. She said, 'Sheriff, how come you let crime get so out of hand in your county?' Sounded like a fair question, I reckon. Maybe it was a fair question. Anyway, I told her, I said, it starts when you begin to overlook bad manners. Anytime you quit here and sir and ma'am, the end is pretty much in sight." And that's exactly it, isn't it? The erosion starts small. It isn't just about respect and politeness. It's about the deeper shift in how we relate to one another. And if we're not careful, that shift can redefine the world we live in. We're at a crossroads, and the path we choose matters. Will we continue down this trajectory of increasing rudeness, of normalized disrespect? Or will we recognize that civility isn't a weakness, but one of our most powerful tools for creating meaningful human connections? The choice, as always, is ours. I thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate your company. I look forward to spending some time with you again. Bye for now.